Yo, what is up, guys? It is your boy Mike here again, coming at you with another video. We got some news for you today based out of the state of Texas. Honestly, the reason I am doing this is because I'm trying to find good sources of news from the state of Texas, and I just can't, man.
I can't. I simply can't. Very effective.
Every news article that I see, from the Texas Tribune to the Austin newspaper to the Monitor to all these places, man, they're just so left-sided. You know what I mean? And even though I lean a little bit to the right, I'm just gonna start doing my own shit now, because literally nobody can give me a good view or a good version of the news as it actually is, rather than just play these partisan games and just kind of spreading out lies. You know what I mean? So I'm sick and fucking tired of that shit. So I'm just gonna start doing my own shit now. Start going over the news a little bit, and we'll see where this takes us. All right. So first things first is the coronavirus cases are at an all-time low. They're 90% down since the peak in July 21st of last year. So less than a year later, 90% of the hospitalizations are down from the peak that we had last year. So that overall is a good sign. There was only one death in the county of Hidalgo last night or yesterday for a quote-unquote coronavirus, right? You can say a lot of these people die from different things and they just had COVID along with it. Literally, honestly, when I was taking care of COVID patients, 1/3 of the people weren't there for COVID symptoms. They were there for other. I remember I had this 15-year-old kid who was there because he broke his wrist, but he came out COVID positive. Anyways, so keep in mind, when people say COVID hospitalizations, I would say at least 40% are stuff like that, where they go in for something completely different, and they're just COVID positive, but they have no symptoms whatsoever. But that's what the media is trying to get to you. They're trying to scare you into getting these vaccines. Right? If you want to get them, go ahead and get them. But just know that after you comply with that, they're going to ask you to comply with something else, and then they're going to ask you to comply with something else, and it's just never ending. Okay. So yeah, man. So overall, things are trending the right way. We've been open for 2+ weeks already, right? I thought we were all supposed to be dead by now. We're not. And if Florida was an example, which the media doesn't like to talk about, that Florida has some of the lowest rates of COVID hospitalizations and death in the country, even though they've been open essentially since last fall. I think like last August or something like that they've been open. So just keep in mind, the media, when they try to get you to go one way, that they intentionally gloss over information so you stay scared and you follow into their little narrative. And look, I'm not saying that they're super sinister. They have this overall arching master plan of controlling you, but ultimately what they're trying to do is to get you to click on the articles, to get you to click on the videos, keep on paying these cable news networks, right? Because if people are not watching, then they can't sell advertisements and they'll go under. So the only way to keep you watching is to make you keep you in suspense, right? And so stay tuned tomorrow for the next tally of COVID deaths, and that's, honest to God, that's what they're doing. You know what I mean? But overall, I like to keep things positive. I like to keep things always on the flip side, you know. Um, and that was my problem with the whole um, handling of the coronavirus. That it was so dark, it was so negative. You know, never did people were they told to go outside and spend time, you know, exercising and essentially being happy, because being happy was essentially gonna provide you immunity from the virus. Rather, they wanted to keep you at home, sad, depressed. That way, your body becomes more conducive to these viruses. Anyways, that was my rant on that. We'll get on from that today. We'll just jump here from place to place. The governor of Texas said that he will not be throwing any of the inaugural pitches for the MLB due to the MLB taking the game out of Atlanta because according to them they're protesting the voter ID laws that they're having. Are ridiculous, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to find information of why it is not, why is it a bad idea to have a voter ID? Why is it a bad idea to require you to have voter ID? And the most sound, I guess you could say, reason for this is that it's a fundamental right. Like, it's based on your constitution, right? And the constitution that if you're an American citizen, you can, it is your right as an American citizen to vote. And so I just have some questions about that, though. You know what I mean? You're right. Everybody who is an American citizen has the right to vote under the Constitution, and that should never be taken away until it can. If you commit a felony in the United States, in your own country, you can no longer vote. So voting, therefore, is not right. It is a privilege. It is a right until you demonstrate that you have forfeited that right by infringing upon other laws that prevent you from making decisions that affect the wellness of the country. So therefore, if U.S. citizens can get their voting rights taken away by committing a felony, then the right does have some stipulations, you know what I mean? Which brings me to my second point. Gun ownership is a right as well, which a lot of leftists are trying to get us from not being able to have guns anymore, right? And they keep on saying nobody needs an AR-15 to go hunt or whatever, whatever they say, right? But the problem is people don't want AR-15s necessarily to hunt. I mean, most people, some hunters do, right? Actually, all of them do, but the AR-15s are not to hunt. They're to protect you against the government. You know what I mean? Like, the government is the one telling you shouldn't have guns because those are the guns that you're going to be using to defend yourself against them. Does nobody remember the revolution? Like, what the whole deal was with that? Why we even decided to even think that it was a good idea to stand up to the patriarchy, that was invading, that was essentially telling us all these things that we had to do for them, and finally, they got to a point where they were like, fuck it, we had to fight, you know what I mean? But we don't have any guns, so we're gonna have to like either steal some guns, kill some motherfuckers, like, some soldiers, some redcoats to get some guns, and it's a thing in Mexico too, right? The only people in Mexico really that have guns, because you're not allowed to have guns in Mexico, are the cartels. So if the cartel wants to take your car or whatever the fuck, right, or even just go rob you, then the bad guys, not just cartels but criminals who don't care about laws, are the only ones that are going to be able to are going to be the only ones carrying weapons. So we all know what went on in Mexico, right? And how that is going, and how most people that I know are afraid to go to Mexico because of that reason itself. You know what I mean? And then the third thing is they keep on saying that voter ID laws make it harder to vote. So, first, right? Let's break that down, right? First, you need ID to do anything in this country, like literally anything. To buy alcohol, to get into certain places, you need ID. To buy tickets, you know, for an MLB game or for an NFL game, you need ID. To get on a plane, on a commercial plane. I mean, on a commercial plane from Texas to New York, you know, inside the country, like you need ID. I need my ID, for example. I remember when I was driving for Lyft, right? You need to provide your ID because Lyft and Uber need to provide safety for their people, right? For the people that are gonna be using the service. So they can't have me fucking driving around with without ever me showing them who I am, and for me doing a background check. And I saw Shannon Sharp from Skip and Shannon from the sports show, and Shannon was saying that they're trying to make it can't be harder to vote than it is to get a gun. And I don't know where he got that from, you know, like why he thinks it's hard to get it, like simply go to the DMV and get a voter ID. You know, like why is that hard? Like define hard. Like what is hard? You know what I mean? It's like hard, like making your own food hard. You know what I mean? It's really just that you don't want to do it. It's just that, like, it's easier to buy food from Whataburger than it is to make your own food every day. It's hard like that. You know what I mean? It's not really hard. It's just inconvenient. You know what I mean? Like, you rather spend that time doing something else, right? And then I was watching this video where this lady was saying that if you require people to have IDs to vote, then you have to keep in mind that the people that are going to be disproportionately affected by this are the people, minorities and low income status people, right? And you can't have low income status people missing a day of work because they need to go get an ID. I was like, well, first of all, in order to get any job in this country, you need to provide an ID. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to be at work if you don't have an ID, so you probably have the ID already, rather than, you know, the other way around. Like, nobody's going to hire you without an ID. Like, I mean, if it's a landscaping job, maybe, like the people from Home Depot or whatever the fuck, right? It's just loony. It's just wacky what they're saying, that it's going to be hard. Like, really hard? I don't know about hard. Like, because I've taken the SAT, which you need an ID for, and the SAT is hard. The ACT is hard. What else is hard? I don't know. Like, you know, going through illness is hard. You know what I mean? How is getting a picture of you taken hard? You know what I mean? If you, I would be willing to bet that if they had said everybody's gonna get $2,000 from the stimulus check, all you need to do is go to this place here and provide your ID, and then the stimulus check will be given to you, right? Then I'm pretty sure everybody would fucking find a way to get to that stupid DMV. But what the hell do I know? You know what I mean? And then last on the list here is Elon Musk and his plans to bring more and more of his company to Austin and to Brownsville and South Padre Island. And I was just reading that some people in Brownsville are already getting scared that he is going to create a tidal wave of influx of people moving to the island and to Brownsville, that is going to be a burden on the infrastructure of Brownsville, and it's going to create it's going to create gentrification, and poor people are going to be moved out, and all these things and all these issues, right? And rather than be blessed and then count their blessings and say, hey, and we were on the bottom of the list from Elon Musk ever bringing any of his companies to Texas, which he did, to the top of the list now, to where he's flat out telling you that he's going to give you money to rebuild your downtown area, to rebuild your school systems. And now you're saying, well, I don't know if we can do it. It's going to be pretty hard. We don't want to displace a lot of people. Man, shut the fuck up, man. Just get it done. Get it done. I mean, we're dealing with COVID. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't say it can't be done. We would just do it. And because that's what had to be done. You know what I mean? And yeah. So, anyways, that is the news for today. Oh. And I'll end also. The Baylor Bears today are going to be playing against the Gonzaga Bulldogs for the 2021 NCAA Basketball Championship. The state of Texas is behind Baylor, even though they're a bunch of liberals. Wait, are they? No, they're not, right? They're Christians. Never mind. They might be conservative, so that's good. Anyways, the state of Texas is behind you. Good luck to the Bears, and we'll catch you guys next time.